Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
It's the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I'm here again with Dawn, who is a previous guest on our show. Dawn, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks.
And Dawn has agreed to let me record our session so that we can all learn from her successes and failures and trials and tribulations and observations and wisdom and insights and reasonably bad jokes. Isn't that right, Dawn?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So catch me up. How have things been going?
Things were going really well. I think lately I feel like the pig has been winning some of the battles. I feel like I'm generally winning the war, but the pig is kind of starting to win a few more battles than I'd like. And I think, a lot of it is because as time goes on, I'm less focused and he's slipping in there when my guard is down.
So you need a little bit of a booster shot is what it sounds like.
It does feel like that, yeah.
Yeah. Where is the pig slipping in?
To be honest, it's mostly on social occasions, but then it might drift on into the Monday, Tuesday. The whole pig squeal of, oh, well, you're going on holiday next week anyway, and that sort of thing that I used to find really easy to fight back on, but now I'm finding harder and harder. Whether it's because I've had a fair amount of weight loss, so I'm feeling less pain with being overweight because I'm not as overweight, but I still have a way to go.
How much weight have you lost and how much do you have to go?
I've lost 6 stone altogether. I don't know what that is in pounds. 6 times 14.
About 100 pounds?
Yeah, I think I've got about another 2 or 3 that I'd like to lose stone.
So you'd like to lose another 30 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so you're a lot more comfortable physically. Just for the sake of the audience, what feels better when you lose 100 pounds?
My whole life is better. Physical pain has pretty much gone. I'm able to do a lot more physically with my kids. And then my self-esteem has increased, and being able to buy clothes in regular shops as opposed to shops specifically for bigger people, it means I can get cheap bargains as well. So lots of changes.
You went from being obese to being a relatively normal person, and you're finding that you don't quite have the same motivation to get through the social situations and get through holidays and those types of things. And there's some squeals that seem just a little more appealing.
Yeah, the weight has been creeping back on, which I've found more upsetting than when I was that weight. Few pounds heavier before, if you know what I mean. It feels worse going on than it does coming off.
Because when you used to be heavy and then you get rid of it, it's like you step out of that suit and you say to yourself, I'm never going back. I never want to go back. And so if it seems like you're going back, it's kind of miserable, right?
Scary, yeah.
Is there any problem with your food plan? Are you confused about what to do on the weekends? Intellectually, not, I know motivationally you're having some trouble, but intellectually, are you?
Yeah, I mean, intellectually, I suppose the only problem I think I've got with my food plan is letting myself have alcohol in social situations, which I've spoken a couple of times with you about, and I feel like I need it off my food plan, but I feel like the part of me that kind of wants to please others is so strong, and I'm almost sacrificing myself because of that, but I just don't feel capable of cutting it out completely for those reasons, really.
Your pig says that you have to drink to please other people.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not so much drink to please other people. It's if I don't drink, it will upset other people.
Well, yeah, they'll want nothing to do with you. That's what the pig says, right?
That's what the pig says. Or that they won't like me anymore, or, lots of negative things like that.
How much truth is there in that?
I think there's a fair amount of truth. And I think, to be honest, it's partly the way I feel. I kind of noticed myself in a social situation recently where one of the women wasn't drinking. And you sort of feel like, oh, you're not joining in. I wouldn't have felt like that if I wasn't drinking, but because I was having a drink, I kind of felt like, oh, come on, come and join in. And I thought, well, that's how people are going to be with me.
Very interesting. Okay. I haven't had a drink in 30 years, by the way, not because I'm an alcoholic, just because I don't want to. I have a very different experience of social situations. I'm going to take you at the word and assume that that's you and not the pig. So, what would you like to do with alcohol under the circumstances? How would you balance your desire to lose the weight with the alcohol?
I'd like it not to creep into other days. And I think that's where the most of the damage is caused. If I have a drink on a Saturday night and then Sunday, it'll be food that's the issue, not drink. So I want to be able to cut it at that social occasion, and that's it. And I think the pig principle should let me do that. So there's something stopping me from doing that.
Okay, we'll get there. So the actual rule would be I will only ever drink alcohol again on social occasions.
Yeah.
And how much alcohol will you drink on social occasions?
I've tried putting a number to it. I've also tried restricting the type of drink. And I think, as is usually the case with alcohol, once you have a drink, then it all kind of goes out the window.
So you want to be able to go to town. You want to be able to have as much as you want when you're out with friends.
Then we'll put a number on that.
How often would you like to be able to do that?
I'd like to be able to do that sort of once every couple of weeks.
So would we say I will never drink alcohol more than twice per calendar month?
Yeah, I could do that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And how many days do you need to have in between? Could you drink on a Friday and Saturday and that's it then for the month? Or
Oh, no. I'd want at least a week in between.
Okay, so I'll only ever drink on social occasions again. I will never drink alcohol more than twice a month again, and I'll never drink alcohol with less than 7 days after I had the last sip of alcohol.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
If you take a breath, how does that feel?
Yeah, I think that it feels nervous. I feel nervous about it.
Do you feel nervous or does your pig feel nervous? Intellectually, does it seem like a reasonable thing to do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
When you think about you and your goals and wanting to lose weight and all that, does it seem like something you could embrace?
Yeah, definitely. And it would give me practice on any social occasions, say 3 days after I've had an alcoholic drink, then I couldn't have one. So it'd give me good practice on those occasions of not drinking so that I might eventually get to the stage where I cannot drink at any social situation. I think that's the problem at the minute. I haven't really even practiced it, you know. So it's all imagination of what might happen if, rather than what did happen.
Got it. And so this seems like a good kindergarten or first grade step.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So is it fair to say then that your pig is nervous and you're excited about it?
Yeah, definitely.
And you know those are both the same physiological feeling, right? It just depends what label you put on it.
Yeah.
So, Dawn, I'm going to go through some of the things we might have gone through before, but I just want to really ground you in the benefits of doing this. And then we're going to do a new motivational technique, which has more to do with the big why not, and I'll explain to you when we get there. But I'm wondering if you were to follow this rule, let's say for 90 days. So what is it now? It's August 13th or August 14th. So if you woke up in November, or November 14th, and you'd actually done this for 90 days, you only drank at social occasions, at least 7 days in between, and no more than twice a month, what would be better? How would it be different?
I think my weight loss would have started again. I'd definitely be going back in the right direction. And I think I would feel more in control and better about myself.
How much weight do you think you would have lost?
In 90 days, I think I probably would have lost about 10 pounds, something like that.
And why is that good? Why would it be better to be 10 pounds thinner?
Because I already feel so much better having lost the amount I've already lost. I think I'm finding it hard to see the benefits of losing more I kind of know I want to lose more, but I don't know why.
Is there anything that weighs 10 pounds around you?
No, I'm in the car.
Okay.
My handbag's pretty heavy, but probably not £10 heavy.
Maybe you can stop and pick up a 10-pound dumbbell. Stop and get it at one of the fitness stores and see what it's like to carry that around all day. Don't go anywhere without carrying it. I'm supposed to say you should ask your doctor if you can do that first, but you get the idea. So you can give yourself the sense that it would be better to be 10 pounds thinner than 10 pounds heavier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I would feel much better being a bit lighter because although I've got more energy now, surely I'm going to have even more energy if I was lighter still.
And the other thing that occurs to me is that suppose you're on a big shipping liner and you're trying to get from Scotland to New York. If you're going 10 pounds in the right direction, then you're going west. But your pig is saying, oh, it doesn't matter, you can head back east. Which means that in 90 days, if you let things go, you could be 10 pounds heavier. So maybe it's a difference of 20 pounds and not 10 pounds.
Actually, that is very true. Very true. I know that for a fact. I know if I don't change what I'm doing right now, then I probably would be 10 pounds heavier in 90 days.
So if we compare doing this versus not doing it, then we're talking about a 20-pound difference.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And if we extend it out a year, it's probably a lot more than that, right?
Yeah.
Why is it important to be more in control?
I am a person that likes to be in control, just generally. And I feel like when my eating or drinking is not in control, the other areas of my life start to slip, like my finances or just household chores and things like that. For some reason, it just all starts to slip.
So you care less about discipline across your entire life?
Yeah, and it's almost like self-sabotage. I just think, well, if I'm going to eat like a pig, I'm going to live like a pig. And it kind of goes back, I think, to, how I was at the very start when I was binge eating a lot, whereas I'm not binge eating a huge amount now. And even when I go off plan, which is technically a binge, it's nothing like it used to be. But I think when I do even go slightly off plan, I start thinking, oh, well, what's the point in getting the house looking nice? Or I'm just going to sit and eat these biscuits.
Got it. You give up on the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So is that what you mean about feeling better about yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about those different areas of your life. Why is it important to get control of your finances?
Well, I am in debt at the minute and I've got 2 young kids and I spend an enormous amount of money every month on childcare. So gradually I've been getting into more debt and I'm just waiting for when the childcare can stop and then recover a bit. But I think it's similar to the food pig in that I think, well, I'm already in trouble. I might as well just carry on until I can, some point in the future, get control over it. But I do find when I'm in control of my food, I stop doing the wasteful spending.
Why would it be good to stop the wasteful spending? Why would that make you feel better? What would be different in your life?
Well, I won't get into more debt for a start. And again, it's a self-esteem thing because I'll feel proud of myself that I'm not wasting my money on rubbish.
You said that it's difficult for you to do household chores and keep the house clean when you're out of control with eating. Why would it be good to keep the house clean?
Because it's respecting myself and because it's better for the family. I don't like having people over when the house is a mess. So it means that I can have people over without worrying about what they think. And I think it's, the general clutter. I feel like it's all one big metaphor, really. It's just, things being cluttered, food-wise, house-wise, finance-wise. I feel like they're all connected.
When you're taking care of it, you want to participate in life like a civil human being, and when you're not, you want to live like a pig.
Yeah, and just do that.
Why is it important to have people over? What does that mean to you?
I'm a very social person and I like having people around. I like having people to chat to. When I go for long periods of time without having kind of social interaction, I do get a little bit low.
Who would you like to have around? Are there any particular people that would be nice to have in the house?
I'd like to have parents of my daughter's friends round. They tend to be the people I avoid the most when the house is a mess. My personal friends, I know that they love me no matter what, but I know my daughter really wants her friends round, and, I'd like to be able to invite the families round and just get to know my daughter's friends a bit better and their parents.
She could have a more normal life.
Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 7. She's very social.
Very impressionable age, also a very formative age. Okay. What's her name?
Tesla,
Tesla. That's pretty.
like the physicist.
Yes, Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
If you were completely out of debt, what would be different in your life?
Oh, God. I'd be a lot happier. I'd feel a lot more secure. I think being in debt makes me feel insecure. Again, it's that element of, feeling in control of my future and my destiny.
Let's say it wasn't just 90 days, but it was a year where you stuck to these alcohol rules. Would you get to goal weight, do you think?
Yeah, I could get to goal weight with that.
What would be good about being at goal weight?
I could imagine that I'd be able to do a lot more physically, not just getting around day to day, but I'd like to be able to do things like CrossFit and, the stuff that's a bit more challenging, things like fun runs and that sort of thing. At the minute, I just don't feel like I'm fit enough. So although I've lost a lot of weight, my fitness level still isn't as good as I'd like it to be. So I think losing a bit more weight will let me up my fitness a lot more.
So you could physically participate in life more.
Yes.
Would that have any day-to-day implications?
Day to day, I'm not sure getting to goal weight would be hugely different from where I am now, apart from just that not feeling on the brink of any minute now I could go the other way and I could keep going the other way. I feel like if I was at goal weight, it would be a lot easier to maintain than where I am now.
Got it. So you wouldn't have to live with the fat anxiety.
Yeah.
I can tell you, as someone who was obese and got thin and started doing CrossFit and all those fun physical things, there is a day-to-day implication of it, which is that there are a lot of functional things like carrying groceries, getting up off the floor, sitting with your legs in a certain position, and being able to pick things up. When I'm dating, sometimes women want me to carry them. There are all sorts of things that in my day-to-day life are much different that I couldn't do when I was obese. And it's different for everyone, but I can tell you that there are a lot of very strong benefits to being physically fit. It makes a difference in day-to-day life.
And I think I'm feeling that where I am now from where I was. I'll be honest, I've never been really lower than this. Obviously, when I was a child, but, you kind of think, well, when you're a child, your level of fitness is higher anyway. And I was still overweight as a child. So I think it's because I don't have a point. I'm not someone who used to be thin, got fat, and want to be thin again. I don't have that point of reference for the being thin bit.
Yeah, I was fat most of my life too. Your pig says that you're never going to be able to experience this because you don't have the memories, and it's just not possible. That's only something for kids.
Yeah, like it doesn't exist in my kind of reality. I'd love to be able to do things like the massive box jumps that people do, or particularly the balancing, like handstands, but I just think, well, that's for young people, not.
I got to tell you, I'm just starting to be able to do those things, that it's a really amazing experience. It took a lot of persistence and consistency and years of getting thin and staying thin and working on it, but it's a pretty amazing experience to feel like, wow, there's all this mobility.
You can have strength.
You can do it. I'm 55. It took me a very long time, but you can do it. Okay, so now I'm going to do something that's going to make your pig feel awful. And because your pig lives inside of you, it might feel awful to do it in some ways, which is why we don't do it that often with people. And I promise I'll take you out of it when we're done. I just wanted to get your permission to go through this because I want you to see where your pig is leading you. The reason we do this is in our more recent surveys and research on weight loss motivation, we're finding that it's not always enough to have a positive future that you're getting pulled towards. It's very important and it helps people to feel good and it gives them something to look forward to. So that's a really important part of the puzzle. But the most successful people, they have what we call a big why not. It's like the ghost of Christmas future is breathing down their neck. The possibility of allowing that happen just becomes so awful that they won't let it happen. That really pushes them forward while the big why pulls them towards the future. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. The only thing I'd ask is, all this kind of cosmic ordering stuff that's about now, and they say, don't ever think of something you don't want because you'll still attract it. Does having a why not put that kind of thing out there?
I mean, apparently not in our research. Having the why not pushes people away from it. And you do keep what you want foremost in your mind. You keep the big why foremost in your mind. You got a hungry bear chasing you, saying, I'm going to run the other way. I don't know many people who run towards a hungry bear. I don't know many people that do that. So would you be willing to experiment?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I want you to imagine that it's 10 years from now. And for whatever reason, you decided, oh, this isn't such a big deal. I've lost a bunch of the weight. I'm just going to let this go a little bit longer. A little bit longer, slipped into longer, and letting it go a little further. And before you knew it, you not only slipped back to where you were, but you let it go for 10 years. Where would you be?
Well, I'd be back to definitely where I started then. The thought of that absolutely horrifies me.
So you'd be back to where you started, so you'd be another 100 pounds heavier from here?
Yeah, probably more, to be honest, because I have been more than that in the past. I know that I'm capable of getting there. That's the thing is, what I said about not knowing if I'm capable of getting to thin and fit in my kind of mind's eye. I certainly know I'm capable of getting to morbidly obese because I've been there.
So realistically, conservatively, in 10 years, where would you be if you just let it go?
I'd definitely be morbidly obese, and I would probably struggle more with it physically because of my age too, because I'll be 10 years older physically.
When you say morbidly obese, would it be 100 pounds heavier than now or more?
I think probably more. So I used to be 6 stone heavier than I am now, but I've certainly reached 8 stone heavier than I am now. So I think I'd probably get to that kind of level.
120, 125, okay.
If I just let things go. I always managed to keep quite healthy despite having such a lot of weight in terms of medical conditions, but with the extra 10 years on my age and that, I would imagine there'd be some medical conditions in there. I used to have plantar fasciitis pop up every now and then, and that would probably come back, definitely. Really painful and really hard to get rid of. So that would probably come up. I don't know whether diabetes might be in there somewhere, but I know I didn't suffer from it in the past or even pre-diabetic. So I've been very lucky in that respect. And I think that's the thing, my health was always very good, but that doesn't mean that 10 years on, if I got that obese again, that my health wouldn't suffer. I think also I'd probably just lose all respect for myself. And the other things would also slip then, my career and, my self-care, my care of the home, that sort of thing. I could see myself being in quite a dark place in 10 years' time if that happened.
Your career would slip, the house would slip. What about your finances?
Oh, 100%, yeah. They'd probably be first to go, to be honest, because that's one of my ways of comforting myself, really, is to spend money. So, if I get into that feeling low because of being overweight, it not only makes me eat more, but it makes me spend more.
The pig wants to get high with money as well as getting high with food, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's why when I'm in control of food, I'm in better control of money, because it must be that same part of my brain that's happening.
What would happen with Tesla? How would her life have been for those 10 years?
I think she would probably follow me down that road, unfortunately, because she does what mummy does. Yeah, I think she'd end up following, which is even more horrific to think about.
You would have spent these 10 formative years with her, and she would have seen those patterns and struggled with things the way that you did.
Definitely. I can see her tendency for it already, but I think because I'm working on myself and my health, she tries to work on her health too. But if I let that all go, then she would, definitely. And then I've got another daughter who's only 3, so...
What's her name?
Her name's Alice.
So Tesla and Alice, okay. So they're really counting on you during this critical time, and you've done great so far. Anything else physically that would be different? You imagined with age you'd have plantar fasciitis and maybe diabetes?
Yeah, possibly diabetes. I think, to be honest, I'd probably end up quite depressed. I think I'd probably be more likely to be depressed than anything else, because I think if I let it slide like that, and with my kids I'd probably blame myself and go into a depression.
What would your house look like?
I think I'd probably stop caring about what the house looked like again. My escape would be food and drink, so I wouldn't feel the need to make the house nice, and I wouldn't particularly want to have people round anyway.
What impact would that have on Tesla and Alice?
But again, I think they'd learn from that and not be responsible for their own care of where they're living. And I mean, they see me trying really hard now to keep on top of things. And in fact, Tesla stayed up late the other night to help me clean up. They learn from these things. So if I stop caring and I stop cleaning up, then they're going to stop caring.
And they'd have less contact with their friends at home growing up, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'd be too embarrassed.
You mentioned before that when you are going in the wrong direction, you have fat anxiety.
Yeah.
What would that be like if you just let things go?
Yeah, I think the fat anxiety would just explode. I think I'd just constantly feel like weight was going on all the time.
You said that one of the reasons you wanted to get to your goal weight was so you could participate more in fitness. What would happen to those goals?
They'd be totally out the window. It's difficult now for me at the weight I am. I tried a CrossFit session and I managed to do it and it was great and I enjoyed it, but it was really, really tough. There's no way I could do that even a stone heavier than I am now, let alone 6 stone heavier. I wouldn't have the motivation anyway. I just see myself as a non-exerciser again. I don't do that sort of thing.
Does this future in 10 years seem like a real possibility if you let things go?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely would.
That's what the future has to bring if you listen to the pig for now.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if all you do is limit your drinking to social occasions and never drink more than twice a month and never less than 7 days in between.
And follow the rest of my food plan. That's the element of my food plan I was struggling with, but the rest of the food plan would have to stay in place as well.
Would it? Would it be possible to do that?
Oh, yeah, I'm happy with the rest of my food plan. I feel confident I can do that.
Oh, that's good. If you did that with the drinking, the rest of the food plan would follow in place and your house would be more organized and you'd respect yourself more and Tesla and Alice would have their friends over and you'd eventually get to the point that you could do more physical things and your finances would come together and you'd get out of debt and you'd feel more in control and all that would come together.
Yep.
So all you really need to do is only drink on social occasions, no more than twice a month, and leave 7 days in between.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that or not?
Yes, please.
Why does your pig say that you can't, shouldn't, or won't?
It says that you feel like that now, but, when you come to the next social occasion or the next, and it hasn't been more than 7 days, are you really going to do it? Because in a month's time, after you've kind of let this conversation go, are you going to feel as motivated to do that? Because I feel so motivated now. It's like, yeah, I can do this. But in a month's time...
Pig says it's going to get you later. I'm writing that down. We're going to go back to that, and I have a new thought about that. What else does your pig say? Reasons that you won't do this?
I mean, that's the main reason, really, because I think the pig's got lots of ways of getting around things. But when I'm highly motivated, the pig gets no chance. So the pig is just saying, I'm going to wait until you're not motivated as much.
So let's look at the squeal. The pig says, go ahead, you can follow this now, but I'll get you later. There'll come a social occasion when it's not 7 days or you've done it more than twice in the month already, and you're going to have to binge because you won't be able to feel abnormal in that situation. So you might as well just give up on this. Where's the lie in that?
I wouldn't be sticking with my plan, which is what I've committed to. So I shouldn't do it. The pig is just trying to get a way in, basically.
Is twice per calendar month enough?
Yeah.
More than enough?
Yeah, definitely.
You don't have to go out and drink more than twice a calendar month? You can still be a normal person?
Absolutely. I shouldn't need to drink that often.
Where else is the pig lying?
Because I can still enjoy the social occasion without a drink. I can't see any reason why I should listen to the pig, apart from not remembering to argue with the pig.
You don't have to argue with the pig, you can just ignore it. You don't have to remember all this. You can dispute what it's saying if it helps you.
I know what it is. It's because after a length of time, I stop recognizing it as the pig, I think, is what has happened. when I'm post this discussion, for a few weeks, I will recognise the pig squeals, no problem, and shoot them down. And then as time goes on, I stop recognising the pig squeals. Or is that the pig just telling me that I will stop recognising?
You're getting good at this. If a pig squeal is anything that suggests that you're going to drink at any other time besides a social occasion, or more than twice a month, or with less than 7 days in between, what can the pig say that you wouldn't recognize as a squeal?
Nothing. It is a squeal. It absolutely is. Yeah.
There are a couple of other lies that the pig is telling you. In both of these squeals, the pig is really saying, I can't get you now, but I'll get you later. Do you know what the answer to that is?
No.
The answer is that later it's still going to be now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you don't binge now, you'll never binge again.
Yeah.
Dawn, the other thing that occurred to me is, this session is recorded. If you wanted to, you could make yourself a note to listen to it once a week or once a month.
Yeah, I do think I need to do something like that. And I think, to be honest, the pig has kind of stopped me from doing that. I've got you on my Facebook feed, and then I know that the pig sometimes goes, oh, just flick through that. Don't think about that right now. I think it's things like that that I need to kind of force, that I'm always kind of having a look at what's going on, that I'm not avoiding the situation because the pig wants me to avoid it.
You told me that the life of your daughter's Tesla analysis is going to be dramatically different if you follow these simple rules versus if you don't.
Yeah.
You said it was going to be dramatically different. They weren't going to have their friends over, and they were going to live in a kind of cluttered house, and there'd be a lot of financial anxiety in the house, and they'd be repeating the patterns that you went through. They could suffer like you suffered. But all you have to do to save them is these 3 simple things. It's not like you have to give up alcohol even. You just kind of limit it in that way. Maybe you could have their pictures up next to what you need to remember.
Yeah. I haven't sort of put anything out anywhere like on the wall or anything like that because I'm almost embarrassed that I need it, but maybe I just should do it.
Everybody needs some support in the beginning. I recently had decided that I was going to allow myself to have beans. I know that sounds like, well, what's the big deal? But to me, it's a big deal. And my pig just really started liking the beans way too much, and I decided I had to get rid of them. And it was hard all over again. And so I decided that I wasn't going to take the same way home because I didn't want to pass the same stimuli. And I made sure that I was taking food in the car and listening to my big Y on the way to the gym and the way back, which is I usually had it on the way back. And I know that when an addictive pathway is activated, that it requires a significant effort in the beginning to protect the new pathway that you're trying to develop, almost like creating a cocoon, so that the butterfly can emerge. Once the butterfly has really emerged, you don't need the cocoon anymore. I'm not going to have to take a different way home from the gym in a month or two. But for now, I'm not embarrassed about that. I'm proud that I know to do that.
Yeah, maybe I should think of it in that way rather than being embarrassed, that I should be proud of what I've done so far and these are my tools to help me get further.
You should be amazingly proud of what you've done so far. Do you know how few people lose 100 pounds and keep it off?
I know, yeah.
There are going to be people that comment on this post and tell you that you're an inspiration to them. Now you're famous.
Oh, gosh.
Now it's not just your daughters. Everybody else is going to be rooting for you.
Yeah. That's always got to help, hasn't it? Having other people rooting for you.
Dawn, people sometimes write in and ask me what happened to so-and-so. When they hear someone who has had a significant trip and has accomplished what they really want to accomplish, they often want to know. They'll write in and they'll ask me. So maybe we'll interview you in a couple of months and you can inspire them some more.
Yeah, that'd be good.
How confident are you that you're only ever going to drink on social occasions again, no more than twice a month, with no less than 7 days in between? How confident are you that you're always going to follow that plan?
99%.
Yeah? What's the pig saying?
I don't know. I just feel like I can never be 100% confident.
Yeah? The pig won't let you be 100%?
No.
What do I usually tell people at those times?
Just tell yourself you're 100%.
Well, the problem is that if you say that you're 99%, the pig will say, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That just means I got to try 100 times. It's not viable to put an addiction to bed with 99% confidence. It's not viable to do it with anything less than 100% certainty. And the reason is that you're perfectly normal to have that, they call it relapse anxiety, whatever you want to call it. I think that's a bogus word because it's not a disease, so there can't be a relapse of something that's not a disease. But there's always that underlying anxiety because you have those neurological memories of having done this, and you know that it's going to generate a craving at some point. That's okay. That's just your survival drive, recalling old memories and striving towards the old addictive substance. But what you can do is you can decide that that survival drive isn't you. You are the sum total of what you decide to do with your survival drive. You have the ability to subjugate that survival drive to your needs rather than its needs. You have the ability to recognize that that's a biological error. I don't think any doctor is going to diagnose you with an alcohol deficiency.
No.
I mean, I could be wrong. Someone could prove me wrong at some point, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's a biological error. It's a mistake. It's driving towards the wrong thing. You can decide, just like you can decide when you go to the bathroom and where you go to the bathroom and what you do with your sexual drive and what you do with your protective drive and desire for territory and all the things that are innately built into us as animals. You can subjugate that to your will as a human being. And so you can say that you're 100% confident that you are never going to binge again. You're never going to drink alcohol other than these situations because you're a human being and you can choose to live a civil life even though you have this powerful biological drive inside you that looks at the wrong thing sometimes. And you can decide that that's your human identity. And you can allocate any uncertainty or doubt to your pig so that you can protect your human identity as someone who only drinks in these very special situations. And that way you can purge all the doubt and distraction from your mind. All the doubt and uncertainty belongs to the pig. You say, I'm 100% confident I will never binge again, but my pig has other ideas.
Yeah, that's true. And I think when I say I'm 99% confident, I'm almost saying I'm 99% confident I won't want to binge. Really, the reality is that the pig might want to. The pig might say, oh yeah, just this once. But that doesn't mean I have to do it.
Oh, the pig will definitely say that. I'm 100% confident my pig wants to binge.
Yes, no. I think I'm kind of sort of expecting that I shouldn't even want to, but that's not the case, is it? The pig can squeal as much as it wants. I think I've sort of been expecting the squeal to go away, but it's not. It's going to be there.
You see, that's a pig squeal in and of itself. The pig says, the very fact I can still squeal proves I'm more powerful than you. If you really got this, then I wouldn't be squealing anymore. Think about putting a Doberman Pinscher in a cage. It can still bark.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It can still lunge at things. And we can't kill it because it's kind of tied up with our survival drive. It's just misdirected. So we can't kill it. We have to keep it alive. So what we need to do is learn how to live comfortably with the impulse. Sometimes it will squeal. It'll be less and less over time, the longer that it's caged, easier and easier to ignore it. Get to the point that it's maybe 1/100th of the time that it used to squeal. But it's still there, and you can be confident it's going to make some noise sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
There's an episode of The Twilight Zone where these monks had captured the devil and put him into a cage. He was kept there with a very small staff of truth. And some passerby finally came to the monastery in a very dark, rainy, lightning storm night. And he couldn't understand. The devil kept on asking him to remove the staff, and he couldn't understand why the devil didn't just reach through and remove the staff. But the devil couldn't fight the truth. The passerby had to be convinced to take it out. And the truth is you can keep the devil in a cage forever if you don't allow yourself to be convinced to lie to yourself. You just keep that staff of truth on the cage. It'll stay there forever. How confident are you that you're never going to drink alcohol other than social occasions? You're never going to drink more than twice a calendar month, never with less than 7 days in between again?
100%.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, dear. Maybe we'll follow up in a month or two.
Yeah, lovely.
Good luck. I think you did great.
Thank you very much. Bye.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.